You escaped the war zone.
I was gonna say my life was beautiful, peachy clean, no bullying, no guns, no violence.
Just burnt houses and ethnic cleansing.
I was lucky. We got away from that. I mean, for a long time I kind of knew that story, but like maybe a year or two ago, my parents like sat me down. They kind of like really explained kind of how it sort of went down, which I don't know. I haven't memorized it like fully 100%, but just like listening to it, I'm like, damn, like I couldn't imagine. Like I'm 30 right now. I'm 33. My parents were like 32, 33 as well. They had two little kids, and the life that like everything, you're like, yeah, you have all these plans, ideas. My mom was just about finishing her master's.
My mom was my mom became a doctor, and then the war broke out.
Yeah, my mom was working in a pharmacy. She was finishing her master's in biochemistry. And you have all these plans and ideas for your life, just cut, and it's like, all right, now survive. Grab everything you have and leave and start a new life.
Yeah.
And so on top of that, my dad's legs were broken too, because his story.
Legs were broken?
Both of them?
Yeah, he had two broken legs.
Oh my God.
When the war broke out?
No, so a few years earlier, around the time my mom met him, he ran out of a bus or into a bus, I forgot. I think out of a bus, and he got like hit like head on by a cop car. And busted both his legs, and for like years he was in a wheelchair, and like he had like these metal rods that were holding his bones like together to like help them like kind of reform.
No way.
Yeah, and so around that time is like when he kind of took them out, and then when we moved to Serbia.
Well, where were you born?
I was born back then it was called Yugoslavia. But it's nowadays Croatia. Lived in Karlovac.
Yeah.
Born in Požega because my mom was from there, and she knew my grandfather knew the nurses and the doctors. He was popular.
So you guys are Serbian from Croatia.
Yeah.
Freeze the press.
Yeah.
There's no more Yugoslavia?
No.
What the fuck?
No, shout out to Yugoslavia.
Dude, this is how I got the news. That's like the same thing when they said somebody came to me like fucking a year or two ago. They're like, yo, there's no more Palestine. Like, there's no more Palestine? Like, what are these guys doing? Just fucking...
Steve's been busy with other things.
Yeah, one of my best friends when I grew up in Flemo was a Yugoslavian, bro. There was enough of them.
We all were Yugoslavian.
I went to Serbia.
His name was Fatty. He had red hair and red freckles, but he was Yugoslavian. I know.
I was
Fatty?
Yugoslavian too.
Boy.
Quick interjection.
No, he was Yugoslavian.
I mean, we're all Yugoslavian.
There was that.
It was all one country, right? So like when I came in kindergarten, it was during the war. I didn't speak English, and the ladies were like, "Oh, like, keep Nemanja in check, Nemanja."
I didn't even know how to pronounce it.
What's not my name? I didn't understand anything what they were saying, and there's these old ladies running the kindergarten, and they tried to sedate me with like oranges, and like they tried to like hold me down. I'd be screaming. I'd be so scared, because I didn't speak the language. But all I remember understanding them saying is, "He's Serbian, and
that's fucking traumatizing.
And I'd start screaming because I thought Serbian was a swear word because of everything you'd see on the news every day. And Serbian genocide, Serbs are the bad guys. And yeah, Serbs did a lot of fucked up shit during the 90s war, but so did everybody else does. And like Serbs were the scapegoat. Just like you have in every conflict, you have the aggressor painted. There's always two sides to every coin. But like seeing that as a kid, I didn't even understand what the fuck was going on. I thought Serbian was a swear word, and I'd be screaming, "I'm Yugoslavian.
Crazy.
I'm Yugoslavian." So
you can't be doing that to a kid, bro.
Just to understand like the times, it was a fucked up time to be Serbian. Even up to this day, they still label us as like in a really negative light compared to the rest of the Balkans. And personally, I'm Yugoslavian. I see us all as one group of people. I love all of the former Yugoslavs, but like it wasn't easy growing up Serbian, and I was Serbian from Serbia, where there was no war or killing. There was bombing in the late 90s with NATO, but we dipped before that. But like he was from a place that got ethnically cleansed if you were Serbian, and people were trying to have their own republics and towns and states, and people started turning on each other. It was really ugly to see, because how do you make an ethnically pure state with a group of people that are
Fucking
essentially
ridiculous.
the same tribe. You know,
It doesn't, they do this shit everywhere, man.
It's stupid. But anyway, sorry to interject.
Your dad.
You guys were in that region.
No, the legs. Your dad's legs, and then the cop car cleared to him. That's where we ended off. I want to hear the rest of the story.
I mean, the whole like the details and how things went are kind of like fuzzy in my head. I have bits and pieces, but like there's a funny story they told me where he got the rods taken out, and the doctor's like, "All right, take it easy, like, you know, don't do too much crazy stuff." And he got a job at a school. I think he was like assisting at a school in Serbia somewhere, and just like one day, like my mom went to pick him up, and like he was standing at the top of the stairs, and it was just like his body just dropped, and then he fell back to the ground. His legs broke again, and the bones cracked again.
Kidding me.
And so he had to get those like rods put back in. And at the time, my mom was getting, you know, these papers to come to Canada. And the lady at the shelter, my mom's like, "Hey, like, can we extend it for like another couple months? Like, it might, you know, my husband just like is like this whole like kerfuffle." And the lady looks at her. She's like, "Woman, like, you're one of the lucky ones that got papers. Get the fuck out while you still can."
Yeah.
Because that's how it apparently was back then. And so, because people didn't know where the war was going to happen, what was going to happen.
Yeah, no one thought there would be a war. Because the Balkans have been through war every 50 years for like hundreds of years.
Like my mom was saying that everyone was in denial. Like you see shit like weird shit happening, they start putting like checkpoints, and you're like, "No,
fucking time to go,
my
bro."
dad said, "Nah,
time
it's
to
not
go.
gonna happen."
Yeah, if it does, it's time to go. I'll tell you that right.
It can happen. But one thing to learn from Yugoslavia is it was a liberal, successful society for the most part, and the lesson is that shit can happen anywhere. It can happen right here.
It can happen anywhere.
And people are oblivious here because they never suffered shit. So they think they can say whatever they want. They think they can be like, "Oh no, it's not gonna happen here." It can happen here. It can happen here in a month. World War III can happen, and it could happen right here in Toronto. It could happen in the States. A nuclear bomb can fall. God forbid. I hope it doesn't. I pray good things happen for us. But like this shit can happen anywhere.
Yeah. Anyways, we get the papers, whatnot. My uncle follows us with all the luggage in his car. I think we packed everything up in like 7 suitcases, and we took a train to Sofia, Bulgaria.
Oh yeah.
And then we took like some rickety ass plane, like propeller plane, to like Poland. And then from Poland we landed in.
So this shit was time sensitive.
Everything was time sensitive.
Meaning like we gotta fucking pack and go.
Everything, yeah. It was just like that.
They lived their whole life.
It's fucking scary, bro.
Yeah. And it was crazy because I remember like my parents told me a story when we came to Serbia. Like my mom's uncle had like a vikendica, or like a cottage, like somewhere that we kind of stayed in over the summer, but it wasn't winterized. You couldn't live there, and so we didn't really have a place to live. And my dad's like in this like they were kind of like pushing people like to not all go to Belgrade. So we were living like in the outskirts.
Yeah, because he was a refugee from Croatia.
Yeah, I was a refugee when I was there. And so we were in like some refugee kind of like, I think, sort of program. My dad met this one guy who's like, "Oh, I got a second house like that's livable, you know, just down the street from, this was in Valjevo? I think it's Valjevo. I can't remember.
Yeah.
And my dad's like, "Oh, how much?" He's like, No, don't worry about it. And this guy just gave us
God.
That's
a house.
That's
so
God.
Like, so literally, like it was between like,
sure.
like so my dad would like, out of our options, like the other option if that guy didn't come was to like live with some gypsies and
fuck that.
And the gypsies are like, "You're gonna teach my son."
Shout out to the gypsies, but
teach my son math. Yeah.
In a mud shack.
And it would have been a whole completely different like scenario, but yeah, this guy, like my heart melted when my parents told me that story. Like just like out of the kindness of their heart, they're like, "No, we don't want you paying anything."
Well,
like,